Hey everyone, thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to take a look at Ethereum, and we're going to be looking at not only its valuation with respect to fiat, but also with respect to Bitcoin. So if you guys like the content, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and check out the Telegram channel in the description below. So let's go ahead and dive in. So one of the things we've noted before about Ethereum is that it behaves in a way that is, that you can look at Bitcoin and see these milestones that Bitcoin is hitting and what is causing them to move from Ethereum. Now, we should preface this by saying this is not financial advice. We're looking at historical patterns, and obviously we know this does not necessarily mean anything about the future, but you can take the information and do what you wish with it, even if you choose to take the contrarian view that I take. So let's go ahead and look at what happened in the last cycle. So again, we saw these two big moves back in January of 2016 through the first quarter, and then in the first quarter of 2017. These are the two main moves that Ethereum saw, and then we saw this final move at the end of the bull run that Bitcoin had. Now, if you go to and look at what Bitcoin was doing, remember, it was not that it just got above the 20-week. So we know that in October of 2015, Bitcoin moved past the 20-week moving average, and then it would further hold it as support 3 months later. At the time, we didn't know that. At the time, we didn't know that it was going to hold it as support. But it was not until it held it as support 3 months later in January of 2016. In January of 2016 is when Ethereum started moving. So it was when Bitcoin actually fell down some. So Bitcoin saw a nice move up. And then after this retracement, that is when Ethereum took off. Not when, Bitcoin wasn't actually doing anything remarkable at the time. During that first quarter, it was moving sideways, in fact. But this is when Ethereum went up. Again, if we take a measured move, you can see that Ethereum, if you just go by the first quarter, you can see Ethereum went up around 1,700% or so. And then later on, in the first quarter of 2017, Bitcoin got to its previous all-time high. And if we look at the move in this quarter, so if we just look at, say, January through, let's not even go through June, let's just look at through the first quarter. Through March, you can see it was a 639% move. But if you take it just until it really stopped moving, then it was a 5,600% move. So these moves came at key milestones. One was when Bitcoin held the 20-week as support. The other was when Bitcoin got to its previous all-time high. And then the final kind of our last move was at the very end of the bull run. So when Bitcoin goes up, we know that cryptocurrency markets are going up, but they're not necessarily going up at the minute that Bitcoin is. Okay? If you look at, say, like the covariance between the two assets, you might see that one actually moves when the other one doesn't. But if you look at, say, the correlation coefficient over a long period of time, of course, like if Bitcoin's going up over 3 years, then Ethereum's also likely going up over 3 years. But on an individual day-to-day basis, that's not necessarily the case. We might expect Bitcoin to move for a while and then cool off, and then we would expect Ethereum to move. Because if you look again at the 20-week moving average, we popped above it in October of 2015. Bitcoin held it as support in January, the end of January of 2016, and then looking at Ethereum, January of 2016 is when it started taking off. You can see at the end of January it really started moving. So for those people who are impatient, just know that it's going to be a long process. It could take months before you see a move from Ethereum. And I don't actually expect us to see a move that is at all what we saw last time. I don't think that Ethereum is going to go up by 1,700% in 3 months. I think that's completely off the cards. But at the same time, we actually haven't even hit the milestone that triggered it last time. Remember, coins, altcoins, and Ethereum, I don't really consider Ethereum to be an altcoin, but other coins tend to do better when Bitcoin is above the 20-week moving average. That doesn't always mean they do better than Bitcoin. But when Bitcoin holds that support, holds that 20-week moving average as support, I think it's going to help confirm, give people confidence that the bull run is starting. If you see the price of Bitcoin drop below $8,000, which is where the 20-week moving average is at the present time, then most likely, in the short term, Ethereum will lose value not only with respect to fiat, but also with respect to Bitcoin. Again, I'm long-term bullish on Ethereum, but this is just the cold hard truth. In the short term, if Bitcoin's dropping below the 20-week moving average, then we know that Ethereum is likely going to drop, but it's also probably going to drop worse than Bitcoin drops if that were to happen, judging by the weekly moving the weekly candles. So currently, looking back at Bitcoin, we've moved above the 20-week, just like we did in 2015. But the question is, are we going to hold that 20-week moving average as support? This is ultimately the question that I would like to see answered. There's a lot of people that say, well, what do you do with Ethereum right now? Well, again, this is not investing, this is not financial advice. This is nothing like that. For me, I don't, I'm not an all in or all out. I don't make those moves with my money just in terms of like say one trade. I dollar cost average in and I dollar cost average out. It's a slow move that could take months. So you could think of it as slowly accumulating more Ethereum while we're above the 20-week, if that's what you want to do. And then if we drop below the 20-week for Bitcoin, then you could try to consolidate some of that to try to stop some of the losses that you might incur. But ultimately, if Bitcoin stays above the 20-week, I'm still going to be bullish on Ethereum in the short term. But it could take a while before we see a move, because if you look back in 2015. This is when Bitcoin got above the 20-week. It was around October. Initially, the valuation of Ethereum with respect to fiat bled for a few days, and then it shot up, and then it just moved sideways for a couple months. It wasn't until, again, 3 months later that it saw the move. So if you're impatient, just remember that whenever the bull market does start, whether this is the move that starts the bull market or not, maybe it'll fall below and then we'll start the bull market next year. Whenever it occurs, taking the time to confirm the 20-week for a few weeks, I think is important. It's critical for Ethereum. And again, if you look at the valuation with respect to Bitcoin, back in, we made a lot of videos saying that Ethereum with respect to Bitcoin was undervalued. And over here, we definitely made several videos talking about it. And you can see that we've continued to move up. Obviously, we've retraced some back to this point that we were at in March. But ultimately speaking, we've still gained value on Bitcoin since that low of December. And the main way that I could see us returning to this point would be if Bitcoin were to drop below the 20-week. So if you see Bitcoin dropping below the 20-week, then there's a good chance we might return back down to this level. So I hope this is informative. If you guys like the content, again, subscribe to the channel. It's important to follow Bitcoin when you're thinking about Ethereum. Ethereum, I think, has a lot of stuff going for it in terms of the development in the space, the number of developers working on it, decentralized finance, the case that Ethereum 2.0 and the transition to proof of stake will be occurring at some point within this market cycle, hopefully. So I think there's a lot of good things coming for Ethereum. I think if you look at the macro scale, that this is smart money coming into the market. It's not just retail investors. I think there's a lot of evidence to show otherwise. So I think smart money is coming into the market. But if your time horizon is say only 12 months, then this might not be the best thing. If your horizon is say two or 3 years, maybe even 4 years, then I really do think smart money is accumulating Ethereum now, and that we will see a paradigm shift in the move of Ethereum that will take us near 5 figures, and then maybe it'll drop back down to say 2,000 or 3,000. But at some point in the next few years, if Bitcoin goes on this bull run to 6 figures, I think Ethereum is going to likely outperform Bitcoin. So remember to subscribe to the channel if you guys like the content and you want to get access to the premium content. I do provide a weekly newsletter that we go into a lot of data. It's mostly focused on data science, looking at risk metrics for various coins. Ethereum's always included. In addition to that, we look at logarithmic regression, we look at traditional markets. This comes out every week, as well as a premium video. So if you want access to this, then check out my website. So it's intothecryptoverse.com. So you can just subscribe to the premium list. If you pay with cryptocurrency for 6 or 12 months, you'll get a discount. Now, there's one perk that is about to disappear. In fact, this is probably the last video I'll make where I advertise this perk. And that is that there is a private Telegram group, and currently we have 245 members. I'm capping it at 250 because I don't have, I don't really want to do introductions every other day with people joining the group. It makes it impossible for people who have been in the group to gain as much out of it. So we're capping the group at 250. Hopefully I can get it right at 250, but if, there's always a chance someone sneaks in when it gets to say 250, but it's going to be capped at 250. And, starting from that point, the link to the group is no longer going to work. So if you sign up for the premium newsletter, then you'll get invited to the group, and as long as you remain a subscriber, you can stay in the group, and we're then going to go through the bull run, or through this market cycle. Whenever the bull run occurs, we're going to go through it together, and this is where everything will be cross-posted. If you don't care about that, that's fine. There's a lot of people that just want the newsletter, just want the premium videos. They don't have time for the chat room. But for those who do enjoy the chat room and want to be in the chat room, that's where I spend most of my time. When I'm doing cryptocurrency stuff, I'm usually in that chat room. If you want to join it, there's 5 spots left. So if you want to make sure you get in, then you should join today, because most likely sometime later today or tomorrow, tonight, whenever it's going to be, it's going to close. And I just want people to be aware of that, so that if you're trying to sign up a week from now or a month from now, or if you're watching this video and it's 2022, just know that group is being capped at 250. Now, I haven't really fully decided yet what I'll do if there's I'm sure there's going to be some form of attrition, where people, maybe they decide to move away from cryptocurrency for a few months or a few years. Maybe we would have like a waiting list to get in. I don't know. I haven't really figured that out. But for right now, I'm capping it at 250 so that I can just focus on collectively, the people in the group collectively, growing together, learning about these different things together, so that we can move forward together, again, rather than having to reiterate every single time a new person joins, oh, go read this report, go watch this video. So again, if you want to join, check out intothecryptoverse.com and subscribe and to the premium report. And if that doesn't interest you, I can appreciate that. Please just check out the YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. There's also a public Telegram channel with around 3,300 people. You can join that as well. And obviously, there's no paywall there. So I hope you guys enjoyed the content. I will see you guys next time. Bye.